Good morning, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live. I'm your host, Chandrakant. All right. So, we know that the climate has been a major impact on our business and therefore, and also on our earth. We want greener earth. We want to live in pure, pure environment, pure water, pure atmosphere, pure air to breathe. All of this is very important, not only for us, but also for our future generation. Not only human generation but also animal and all flora and fauna. So we have realized that the industrial revolution was kick-started by steel production, by producing steel from iron, and the key to that is to burn coal along with the steel, and a certain percentage of coal got mixed with the iron to produce steel. And this process actually created a havoc, because while the steel propelled human race to do wonderful things in last 400 500 years, but then it also spoiled the environment big time, because we are burning coal. There were a lot of deposits in the atmosphere, carbon deposits especially. So when we talk about climate change, when we talk about conserving our planet, then we have to look at what are the various elements of pollution. And one of the big pollutant is the steel industry. Today, steel industry contribute to about 8% of the carbon emission worldwide. And because a lot of countries are producing steel, while the steel production method, the current method, is very novel. You put the iron ore, you put the coal, and then you burn them at a very high temperature, and voila, you get the steel which flows out from that. And it's a very the steel production plant is very interesting if you want to study that. However, it's a big pollutant. It creates a lot of carbon emission which are very harmful to the environment. So people are talking about making steel in a greener way, and that is why the new steel is dubbed as green steel. And today we are going to talk about that, and it concerns all of us, isn't it? We have to reduce the carbon emission in our atmosphere. So let's look at what is green steel. The green steel is obviously the steel which is being produced by using the green methods. And production of steel requires very high temperature and of course carbon, because if you get the iron ore and don't mix the carbon in certain small quantity, then you don't get steel. So carbon actually, when we look at the carbon, the best method of adding carbon is to burn the iron ore in coal. So you get the iron ore from earth, you also get coal from earth. So it is basically mine these two items, bring them in the blast furnace, which is the furnace used for producing steel, burn them in certain quantities, and that's it. So because coal burns for longer time, produce a lot of heat, lot of energy is there in coal. Coal actually is used as a medium for melting the iron ore also. So it serves two purposes, and in the process it gets mixed with iron and produce steel. All right, so that is the cheapest, best method of producing steel. However, it is, as I said, it is adding a lot of carbon emission into the atmosphere because we are burning coal. So what are the methods? What is the green steel? Green steel is burning the iron or melting the iron, also purifying it without use of coal. So the next method which is being talked about is using hydrogen to melt the iron ore, because hydrogen is very highly inflammable gas, so it can produce very high amount of heat as well, which will burn the iron, and that is the way you can purify iron. And then you get only pure water as your byproduct. So you burn hydrogen, you melt iron, you generate a lot of temperature, and your output is as a waste product is pure water. So this is one thing which is being talked about. There are other methods also which we will talk about. There is the electric method, which is currently being used in some of the blast furnace, the electric arc method where the electricity is used. Now, electricity is a green product. You know that you generate the electricity from hydro electric or solar power, which is also green. You don't pollute the environment. So use the electricity to create high temperature to purify your iron ore, and then you have to mix carbon at some point in time. So you're not burning coal or any other carbon, in order to melt the iron ore. So that is why this is called green steel. You don't use any sort of carbon to generate a lot of heat. You're not burning coal to generate heat. You're using the environment friendly method to generate heat to melt iron. Now, as you know that iron production or steel production is a very big, one of the big industry. The biggest industry is petroleum, but followed by the steel. Steel, when we started generating steel in large quantity, we started building large ships, big buildings, a lot of things using steel, because steel is very strong and it can withstand the pressure, or railroad. All kinds of steels are there. The steel which can withstand a lot of pressure, so you can use it in building. The steel which is tensile, and that you can actually use it in various other aspects. So steel production is one of the major industry. Lot of large countries are producing steel and then exporting it. And countries like Japan, they are actually getting the iron ore, producing steel, and then exporting the steel itself. So a lot of economy is based on steel. Therefore, to generate green steel is a big deal, because you can't get out of steel production if you want to continue your progress, but at the same time you don't want to pollute the environment. All right, so we have answered the question, what is green steel? Let's move on. So the innovation in producing green steel, the innovation is basically, how do you use hydrogen? Hydrogen is a flammable material, highly flammable material. It catches fire and it burns at very high, giving out very high amount of heat. So it's lightweight, and it burns very quickly, and it gives a lot of heat. So you can use hydrogen to melt the steel, and when hydrogen burns, it actually burns an oxygen, and therefore you get water, pure water, as a byproduct, which you can bottle it from the plant, steel plant which is using hydrogen to melt the iron. You can get the pure water out of it and then supply it to homes, etc. So you are solving that problem by using hydrogen to burn your iron ore and melt the iron, and then later form by adding carbon you can form the steel. So I think that is a very big innovation. The next innovation is using the electric arc method to generate heat to melt the iron ore, which is again will not give any emission. So it's very novel method of doing that. Third is, when you have to add coal in the molten iron, then you can use some sort of biomass without using coal. And then if you just have to even use coal, then it is less than 1% of the quantity. So less coal will be required. That means there will be less strain on the mining industry, less strain on the coal mining, and because it has a finite amount. The coal has a finite amount, and once you burn out all the coal, then you will not be able to produce future steel, because steel can be recycled. The third innovation is how do you get the iron filing to use, and because iron filing are very thin and it's already purified. So once iron filing is used, then it will be a lot easier to melt the iron, and you don't need to raise the temperature of your furnace to very high temperature. You can actually use some other methods, environment friendly methods, generating less heat. So these are all innovations which are being implemented by major players today. They are actually cognizant of the fact that they have to reduce the carbon footprint, and therefore they are implementing all of these things. All the major steel manufacturing players are actually trying to implement all of these three innovations, because remember, these are huge plants. The investment is huge in steel production. So any change will also require big investment. So initial big investment, but large steel manufacturers are already making these investments for the sake of our planet's future. The impact on the environment will be immense once we are able to generate, uh, incorporate the method, environment friendly method to produce green steel. It will have a big impact, because remember, the steel production adds 8% of the total carbon which is added by human activity into the atmosphere. So if we are able to incorporate these latest technologies, then 8% reduction of carbon will be immense, and we start feeling the effect immediately. We will start getting the pure air in our lungs. We will start getting better crop. We will not get acid rain and stuff like that. Any adverse effect of carbon CO2 pollution in our atmosphere, we can avoid all of that. So I think, and then you get lot of water being generated. So hydrogen burns, but then it is not escaping. It burns, and then it combines with oxygen, and you get water. So you retain your initial hydrogen content. You don't lose the hydrogen gas. It just convert into water. So you get excess water, and then you can use that water to water the field, or for drinking purpose. In fact, there are certain countries which are already using this method, especially in Middle East, which is generating pure water for their citizens. So the rest of the world can also follow suit, and they can start doing that. Immense impact on the environment. So there are industry leaders. As I said, that a lot of large manufacturers of steel are already implementing these latest technologies to produce green steel, and you should be happy that in India there is one company which is already doing that, and that is Tata Steel. Tata Steel is a very large company. It's one of the takers and movers of Indian economy. Tata Steel produce lot of steel. There are other companies also, but then Tata Steel is a major producer of steel, and they have a township. Actually, if you look at, they have Jamshedpur is their main factory, which is very close to the coal mines. So Tata Steel has already started implementing these latest technologies to start producing green steel. So it is going to, so like that, there are 7 to 8 additional players. All these additional players are very large companies globally. Some of them are in US, some of them are in Europe, and the time is right for all the companies across the world to start implementing these technologies to produce green steel. And like the large companies are already doing that, but mid-sized companies, the small company must also do that. I think as we move into the future, there will be more innovations, and steel is an important aspect of human mankind, and therefore we can't get rid of steel. We have to just find ways to generate green steel. So future prospects looks quite bright, and if we are able to solve the carbon emission coming from this one factory, because if you look at the iron producing or steel producing factory, these are very large establishment, as big as a small town. So, and then they burn a lot of tons and tons of coal. If you look at the blast furnace, once they ignite the blast furnace, they keep running it forever. And the success of the steel plant is that the ore keeps coming from one side, and the coal keeps coming from the other side, and at the bottom you get the steel. So this is like a conveyor belt. As soon as the ore is mined, it is transported to the steel plant, and then it is converted into steel. Similarly, coal. So once the blast furnace is up and running, it keeps running for several days. Otherwise, if they stop, then reigniting blast furnace is quite difficult job because it's a very large permit. So you see that the steel plant is generating a lot of carbon, current steel plant, and therefore future prospect of converting our current methodologies to producing green steel, there is going to be a better future for all of us if we basically start using hydrogen instead of coal. The coal in the environment will be saved, it get locked up. Even if you get some carbon dioxide generated from this process, you can actually take the carbon dioxide and convert that back into coal and store it in your earth. The key is to keep the carbon content very, very low, and you can use the carbon, the earth, Mother Earth, to store the carbon itself. You don't want to release it in the atmosphere. That will protect our environment. So future looks quite bright because most of the people are now looking at this new methodologies. All right. So we have discussed all aspects of green steel. This is very specific subject which is related to protecting our environment. So if you have any thoughts, if you feel that this is something good or something better can be done, do not hesitate to send across your comments, and I will catch you again in the next one. Thanks for watching.